Hey guys, it is December, so winter is here. And although I've tagged out here in Kentucky on bucks and I've shot a few does, the work is not done. It's never done. So if you're a hardcore whitetail fanatic like I am, you're just as excited this time of the year as you are in the summer and the fall. I mean, it's a never-ending thing. It's a lifestyle, right? So December is awesome. I love late season for hunting over food sources, and it can be one of those really productive periods of the hunting season. But it's a grueling long season, right? And if you haven't harvested your buck, your attitude's a little bit different this time of the year. If you hunt over the correct food source, it can be dynamite, but if not, it can be really frustrating. What I'm doing today is I just picked up a new cedar, and I'm on my way to a feed mill. I'm going to pick up a bunch of pelletized lime. And along the one edge of my food plot, where the walnuts and Osage orange are dropping all their nuts, I've collected them and pushed them off to the side. But you know, you can't get them all, and it does make the soil more acidic. So it's good to put lime every couple of years out on your food plots anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do today. It's also a good time to kind of reminisce and look back on your season. Ask yourself a few questions. You know, ask yourself, you know, did you harvest your target buck, and if not, why? You can also ask, you know, whether or not your hunting season has gone in general the way that you wanted. I mean, are you seeing the kind of game that you'd like and activity, especially during daylight? And if you haven't harvested your target buck, are you seeing other bucks, mature bucks, on their feet, on camera and in person? And just kind of look at and assess the overall farm and ask yourself if you're happy in general, you know. And if you're not, well then you might want to hire a consultant, you know, and that's what I do in the off season. December through March is the best time to do that for several reasons. Number one, you can see last year's deer sign, rut, rubs, and scrapes. You can go through and penetrate into the doe bedding areas and not have to worry about negative ramifications and how that's going to affect your hunting season several months down the road. It's also a good time to put in water holes and do some hinge cuts, some TSI work if you want, if you need it, and then do food plot work and cut access trails, shooting lanes, that type of thing. This is the time to do that because there's not going to be any negative impact on your upcoming hunting season. So that's what I'm out here doing today, and it's a little bit overcast, a little drizzly, but that's okay. And it's warmed up a little bit. It was in the teens, and now it's 54 degrees, so it's nice and comfortable, but it's a good time to get some of that work out of the way. I own Mature Whitetail Strategies, LLC, and what I love to do is help hunters improve their success on their farm. Now, whether you're leasing a piece of property, you own your farm, you hunt permission-based property, or even public, I love helping hunters crack the code on those big, old, smart, mature bucks. You know, in order to consistently harvest bucks like these, a lot of things have to happen right. And in order for the stars to line up properly, you have to plan not days or weeks, but usually months in advance. While I'm driving out here to this farm, I thought I'd share a couple clips from some of the big mature bucks I've seen from August through last month, November. And when a plan comes together, it's pretty sweet. And this is what can happen. clip is an example of some postseason scouting from back in March, which is really exciting for me because it was a new farm. I'm on this point on the far east end of the property, and it drops off from 750 all the way down to 550 down by the creek. So it's a 200-foot drop in elevation. And I want to stop to show this huge rub. Obviously, it's worth taking a picture and videoing because it's just so big. But this point is on the very far east end of the property, and about 75 yards from where I'm sitting right here, one of our food plots is going to be planted in beans. And for access, we're going to come in on the north side when we have a southwest, south, or southeast wind. We're going to come down in the creek bed, turn 90 degrees, and go straight up the hill to the base of this big old white oak that's situated 25 yards off the northeast corner of the plot. If this buck is bedded anywhere on this point within 100 yards, he's going to get up, he'll come around here, stage, rub, and then work his way around this point with a south wind, especially south-southwest, and he's going to think, well, the wind's in his face, we're good to go. But with our scent, we'll be up in this oak tree, and because of the steep drop-off, our scent stream is going to be blowing over the top of his head and dropping down towards the creek. Okay, so by now you know I'm a big fan of postseason scouting, but before I get this pelletized lime on the field here, I want to touch base on a couple things. And I don't know why more guys are not excited about learning their property in the off season. It's not as glamorous as the actual hunting season because you're not carrying around a weapon with you. But in this last hunting season, I learned more information by walking the new farm February and March than I would have during the summer. And that's the time to do it. So last fall I had 4 encounters with my #1 target buck, Thanos. And although I should have been able to wrap my tag around his antlers, I didn't, and that's another story. But I was in the mix, and I had 4 encounters on camera during daylight, and that's the most important takeaway. This year I was able to hunt this new farm, and when I got the green light, I went out and did a lot of scouting in February and March. And I spent probably 18 to 20 hours over the course of six days to really learn that farm. And I want to know where the doe bedding areas were, the pinch points, funnels, scrapes, rubs, bedding areas, all that stuff. And that helped determine where I put my stands. And although I didn't harvest that buck, I invited my father to come down from Wisconsin for a few days, and on day 1, first time ever stepping foot on the farm, 2.5 hours into daylight, he shot Thanos. He had a great shot. So that was time for me to pivot. And the next day, so 32 hours later, I was able to get another hitless buck, one of 4 from this particular farm. And these 2 farms are about 25 miles apart. And I can't wait to share that on camera kill with you guys at some point in the near future. But the reason why that happened was because I had a backup plan to the backup plan. And just like the other farm, all these stand locations and food plot designs and access trails and shooting lanes and all this stuff was determined from the postseason. And that's the best way of doing it, because all the disturbance that you cause from walking through the area and leaving scent, making noise, it's not going to have any negative impact on your hunting season come fall. All right, I'm glad that's done. Okay, so just got done finishing up the lime in the fields. So I'd like to wrap up this video by saying, first of all, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I love the phrase, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And with Mature Whitetails, that is extremely accurate. If you hire me to come out and consult on your property, I'm going to cover every square inch of your property from north to south, east to west. And I'm going to look for all of last year's deer sign, of course, but I'm going to look at your property from a different perspective. Whether you've been hunting your farm for a year or 25 years, doesn't matter. Sometimes all you need is a little bit different perspective in looking at your property and your approach from a different angle. And I love cracking the code on Mature Whitetails, trying to figure out a new piece of dirt and putting the pieces of the puzzle together so that the landowner can take their success to the next level. So I hope that this season is going to be the best season you've ever had. Thanks again for watching. God bless.